I sat at a bus stop for hours when I was 5, I told him simply. Watching the road for a truck that never came back. Something in his face shifted, recognition flickering like a match struck in darkness. Yeah, he said after a long moment. That tracks. They'd look at me, lanky, freckled, hair always a bit too shaggy, and see something they trusted. Not because I was special or particularly wise, but because I carried the same hollow space they did. That peculiar emptiness that comes from having the people who should have protected you walk away instead. I got it. That ache of being tossed aside fueled me, turned my own healing into purpose. After long days of bearing witness to so much pain, I'd returned to my one-bedroom apartment in a forgettable building with peeling paint and temperamental plumbing. The walls were mostly bare except for a framed photo of Hank and June by the lake, their faces sun-weathered and smiling. June holding up a small fish, Hank's arm around her shoulders, proud as if she'd caught a whale. I'd trace their faces sometimes, missing them with an ache that never quite went away. The apartment wasn't much, cramped kitchen with avocado green appliances from the 70s, bathroom where the hot water took 5 minutes to kick in, living room that doubled as my bedroom when the money was particularly tight. But it was mine. Every rent check I wrote felt like a victory, a statement to the universe. I am here. I exist. I am making my way. Some nights, I'd sit on my small balcony overlooking the parking lot, watching people come and go. A young mother struggling with groceries and a toddler. An old man walking his ancient dog. College students laughing too loudly. All these lives intersecting briefly, everyone carrying their own stories. I'd sip cheap beer from a bottle and wonder if any of them were waiting for someone who never came back. Mornings, I'd brew coffee in a pot June had mailed me. The drip steady as I watched the sun climb over the city. I'd move 3 hours from home but they'd visit June fussing over my fridge. Too much takeout, not enough greens. Hank would tinker with my leaky sink grumbling about city plumbing. You're doing good, Ethan. He'd say and I'd smile feeling their pride like a warm quilt. My days were full counseling paperwork coaxing kids to open up but nights I'd sit on my sagging couch staring at that photo missing the trailer's creak. 2 years and Hank had a heart attack. I got the call at midnight, June's voice trembling through static. He's gone, honey. I drove home in a daze, the highway blurring, and found her in the trailer surrounded by casseroles neighbors had dropped off. Hank's toolbox sat by the door, wrenches gleaming. I sank beside it tracing the cold metal and sobbed deep ugly sobs that shook me. He'd been my rock. The one who'd pulled me from that bus stop dust. At the funeral, I wore his old flannel too big and stood by June as folks shook our hands murmuring. He was a good man. I nodded throat tight feeling immortal all over again. June sold the trailer after that, moved into my spare room. She'd shuffle around in slippers cooking chili or folding laundry, her hands slower now. Don't need much space, she'd say, but I saw the sadness in her eyes. I kept working through myself into it. By 27, I'd saved enough to start Crossroads Haven, a non-profit for at-risk teens. We rented a storefront, peeling paint, a flickering sign, and I hired a couple counselors, kids ourselves barely scraping by. I'd lead groups there. Teens sprawled on beanbags talking about fights or drugs or dreams they didn't dare name. You're not alone. I tell them, voice soft but firm, and they'd look at me like maybe they believed it. I loved it. The chaos, the breakthroughs. One kid, Alex 15, all sharp edges, started showing up regular. He'd sit quiet, then one day said, "My mom left me at a rest stop." You get that right? I nodded, swallowing hard. Yeah, I do. He kept coming, softened a little. It was small wins like that over burnt pizza and bad coffee that kept me going. June beamed when I tell her, "You're saving them, Ethan." I'd shrug, but inside it felt like stitching up my own old wounds thread by thread. Then at 29 something cracked open. One of my kids, Jamal 16, stopped showing up. He'd been a talker, funny, quick with a grin, working through his foster home mess. I called around, got nothing till a girl whispered he'd left with some couple promising cash. Shady folks. She said, older, smooth talking. My gut twisted. I dug deeper, asked cops, checked shelters. Word came back. A man and woman mid-50s trolling for runaways with fake jobs. The description nagged me, her nervous laugh, his clipped voice. It couldn't be, but it lingered. A shadow I couldn't shake. I'd lie awake after that. June snores drifting through the wall and think about mom and dad. I hadn't dreamed of them much lately, but now they crept back. Mom's shaky fingers, dad's turned back. Were they out there still running? Did Sarah know my name? I push it down, get up, make coffee, focus on the kids. Crossroads was growing, donations trickled, and we added a hotline. I'd answer calls at night, voice steady for some scared teen on the line, but that shadow grew. One evening, flipping through Jamal's file, I found a note he'd left. They said they knew you, Ethan. My breath caught. Knew me how? June caught me staring at it one morning, her mug steaming. What's eating you? She asked, voice gentle. I shook my head. Just a hunch, but it wasn't. It was a thread pulling loose, unraveling years I'd patched tight. I kept going, met with donors, hugged Alex when he got his GED, but my mind drifted. I'd walk past the bus station on drives home and feel that old dust in my throat. I built a life, a good one, with chipped chairs and kids who needed me. But something was stirring, a reckoning I didn't want but couldn't dodge. I'd sit with June at supper, her cornbread warm, butter melting, And wonder if the past was closer than I'd thought waiting to knock. I was 30, bone tired after a day at Crossroads Haven, when June met me at the door, her apron twisted in her hands. Two folks came by, she said, voice low, asked for you by name, they're waiting at the center. My stomach dropped. I'd been chasing leads on Jamal's disappearance for weeks, that nagging hunch growing sharper. I grabbed my keys, drove over the Austin, dusk heavy with heat. Inside the lobby was dim, just the hum of the vending machine. Then I saw them, Mom, Dad, and a lanky girl with my freckles. Mom stepped forward, gray hair pulled tight, smiling too wide. Ethan, baby, we found you. My chest tightened. Anger, disbelief, a flicker of something soft I hated feeling. They sat across from me in my office. The desk cluttered with files.